everyone. Today I'm going to walk you through filling out the first 6 sections of the Common App and give you just some quick tips to get through this a little more quickly and make sure that your account is all good to go and you can apply to college as quickly as possible. So when you log into your Common App account, even after you first make it, this is the screen that'll show up. In the section that we are going to be talking about today, we are going to click on the Common App tab. So this is actually the application part of the Common App. And remember, by September 14th, you need to fill out the profile, family, education, testing, and activities sections. That seems like a lot, but a lot of this is really straightforward, so it's going to go pretty quick. So for example, in the profile, the first section is just all about like what your name is, what is your birth date. So I'm not going to spend any time here. The only thing I want to draw your attention to is that every required question has a red asterisk next to it, that little star right there. If you don't see that little red star, you don't have to fill out that question. So we'll scroll right through this. The address section, again, is also really straightforward. One thing that some people do get a little confused about is this alternate mailing address. That would be if, for example, you and your family are staying somewhere temporary and you know that you're going to move back into a more permanent place later, or like you're living with an aunt right now, but you might move back in with your mom and dad later. Other than that, you don't need to provide any other addresses. All right, same thing with your contact information. If you don't have another phone number, don't put it. One other just quick little thing, make sure you're always hitting the blue continue button at the bottom because that saves all of your information. And notice that as I'm clicking through these sections, the little green check marks are appearing. Whoops, that means that that section is done and there's nothing else I need to do. So if you feel like you have finished the Common App, and you're wondering why it's not letting you submit or something, go back in and check because it may be that one of these little sections isn't actually complete and you thought it was. All right, so all of these questions about demographics are not required. You can answer them if you want to. You certainly don't have to. If you want to, for example, like not fill out the religious preference or the armed forces question, but you do want to fill out the questions about race, you are more than welcome to do that. I'll just quickly do that here. And the only required question is this one, which is like, are you sure? Are you ready to move on? And when you're ready to move on, you've provided all of the demographic information you're comfortable sharing. You can go ahead and click continue. All right, so geography. This is one that is probably going to apply to some people. If you were born in a country, if you were born in a country other than the United States, you'll scroll down and find that country. And then you'll also provide the city in which you were born. And if you were born in the United States like I was, you'll choose the state as well. If you've lived in the United States your entire life, you're going to put the number of years old that you are. So for example, if you're 17 years old, when it asks the number of years you've lived in the United States, you were born here, you're going to put 17. If you've never lived outside of the United States, you're going to put 0 for that and then hit continue. So the number of languages that you are proficient in. What they're asking here is how many languages you feel comfortable speaking, reading, and writing in. I personally am only comfortable speaking, reading, and writing English. And so I will choose that. And then it kind of gives you some opportunities to rate how proficient you are. So first language means it's the first language that you learned. So I'll check that for me. And then you check as many of these options as apply. So I can speak, read, and write English, and I also speak it in my home. Another common language for you is probably going to be Spanish. So for example, if you speak Spanish, but you aren't as comfortable in your reading or writing abilities in Spanish, you could uncheck those boxes. And we'll hit continue. All right. So citizenship status. This is not one that gets sent to immigration. I want to make that really clear. The citizenship question is not going to be sent to immigration. The government does not look at your Common App. What this is useful for is for colleges determining your financial aid eligibility, because there are some differences with financial aid depending on what your status is. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you could fill this out depending on what your citizenship status is. If you were born in the United States or you have gotten naturalized citizenship since living here, you're going to select the first option, U.S. citizen or U.S. national. Then it asks for your social security number. Again, the Common App is completely secure, and I would strongly recommend entering your social security number here because it's going to make it a lot easier for colleges to match up your application to the school with your application for financial aid. So if you're a U.S. citizen, all you have to do is click that one, and then you will enter your social security number. Excuse me. If you're a permanent resident, meaning that you have a green card, you'll select U.S. permanent resident. You will also enter your social security number. And then if there is another country where you have citizenship, you'll list it there. So it could be Mexico, Ecuador, wherever you have your citizenship. And then they will want you to upload a picture of your green card. So to do that, all you have to do is take a picture of your green card. Make sure you take a picture of the front and back. And then I would recommend emailing that picture to yourself. And from there, you can download it to your computer and upload it to the Common App. I'm going to post a document that shows you how to download and upload documents from your email later on. So I'm not going to talk specifics about how to do that here. And you can always ask me for more help. But they know that if you have a green card, they want to see a copy of that green card. Again, it's not for any like sketchy immigration purposes. It's only because they want to make sure that you get the financial aid that you are eligible for. And then the other main option is someone who is not a permanent resident, doesn't have a green card, is not a citizen, and doesn't have any documentation. So if you are undocumented, you are going to, even if you have DACA, you are going to select other non-US. You will still list your citizenship. If you have a US visa, you would answer yes to this question, and then they would ask you to select which visa you have. But for a lot of people, you're just going to put no, I don't have a visa. And then if you are undocumented or you have DACA, when it asks what type of visa you're going to apply for, all you're going to do is say, I do not intend to apply for a US visa. And again, this is only like for financial aid purposes. Depending on your citizenship or immigration status, you're eligible for different kinds of financial aid. This is 100% a safe application. This information just goes to colleges. It is not shared with any government agencies. So this is totally safe to put this information into this application. All right, and the last one, this is so important. So as you may have noticed if you've been researching colleges already, there are application fees that are associated with applying to college. But what we are going to do is get around the system so you all don't have to shell out hundreds of dollars to apply to college, because that's not fair. So the Common App actually has a fee waiver built into it, which means that there is this little section right here that we can fill out, and that gets you out of having to pay those application fees, which is awesome. So this question asks if you feel that your financial circumstances would qualify you for a fee waiver. You are going to put yes. Something like 90% of Hiawatha students are eligible for free or reduced price lunch. So I would recommend once you hit yes and you see all of these other options, I would recommend all of you just to put that I am enrolled or am eligible to participate in the federal free or reduced price lunch program, because again, 90% of students at Hiawatha do qualify for that program. If you feel that maybe you're in the 10% that doesn't qualify, still check it, but then email me or text me and let me know that you have some questions about whether or not you might qualify, because there's a couple of other options that we can select here too, just to make it a little bit more flexible. But like I said, the vast majority of people are going to qualify for this program, so that's the only box that you will have to check. Then you will need to sign your name just by typing it in the box there. And then where it says, I would like to receive information for Strive for College, that's just a program that's going to send you a bunch more emails about how to apply for colleges and deadlines and financial aid. If you want more information, more information is never a bad thing. You can go ahead and hit yes, but if you're like, I feel like I have access to all of the information that I need, you can select no, and then you'll hit continue. And then you just filled out one section of the Common App, and as you can see, we've got that lovely green check mark there by profile, which means we are ready to move on to family. All right, so the family section of the Common App asks for information about your parents and the people that you live with. And the main reason they ask about this is to get an idea of what your living situation is, because again, it's helpful for determining how your financial aid is going to work. So the first thing that asks about is kind of like who you're living with and what the situation with your biological parents is. So where it says parents' marital status relative to each other, they're asking about your biological parents. So if you, for example, live with your mom and your stepdad, you're going to think about the relationship between your mom and your biological dad. So I'm filling this out for myself. So I'm just put married. I live with both parents. If you do have any children, you would mark yes here, and then you would just answer how many that you have. And that's also helpful, again, for the financial aid reason. All right, I'm going to walk you through how to fill out information about one parent, and then the process will be, just the same for your second parent if you live and are in contact with both your parents. So I'm going to start with my dad, but if you wanted to start with your mom, you could. I will say that if, for example, you only live with one parent and you don't have contact with the other parent, what you're going to want to click is I have limited information about this parent, because then it'll make all of this information optional to fill out. So again, if you don't have contact with one of your parents, when it comes time to fill out their information, put I have limited information. But if you know enough about them, you're going to click, like I said, I'm doing this for my dad right now. My dad is living, and then I filled out his name. I filled out where he was born. You don't have to enter your parents' email. If you know that you have parents who are really involved and want to receive extra information about where you're applying to college, it's helpful to put it in there, but you don't have to. You also don't have to put in their phone number. And then they ask where this parent lives. So if your parent lives with you, you're just going to put the same as my home address. If they live somewhere else, you will have to enter in that address, and you'll have to make sure that you actually click into this button. It won't give you an option just in this form. You'll have to click into it. So we're going to do the same as my home address. And then for occupation means what their job is. So my dad manages sales, basically. I'm still, 27 years in, not 100% sure what my dad does. But he's a sales manager, so I just put business management. For employment status, they want to know if your parents are currently working. So my dad is currently working, so I put employed. If your parents are not currently working, you could do unemployed. And then their position title is the actual title of their job. So my dad's job title is sales manager, so that's what I did there. It asks if your parents have ever worked at a college or university, again, because there's some like financial aid stuff that goes with that. So that's why they're asking that question. My dad personally has never worked at a college. Some of you may have parents who have worked at colleges in the area, and so you could put that in there. The name of the current employer is the name of where your parent works. This is the name of the company my dad works for. And then education level. So this is actually also a financial aid thing. There's a lot of scholarships that come with being a first generation college student, meaning that your parents did not attend college. So they ask for your parents' education level to help determine if you're going to be eligible for any of those scholarships or programs that go along with being first generation. I am not a first generation college student. My parents went to college, so I entered that information in here. It asks you to find out to list what college they went to, so I looked that up. And then if your parents did attend college, you would have to enter the type of degree that they have. And if they did go to college, this is a section that they could help you out with. So that is how you do the parent information. All right, so we just finished up the family section, and now we're ready to do education. This is one where there's going to be a lot of like fiddly little questions and information that you have to get exactly right. And I have all of that typed out in the How to Complete the Common App Guide document as well. So first of all, the first thing that you're going to do, it's going to ask you to select your current high school. And mine says change because I've already entered it, but there will be a little button that says search. And you can search by your high school name. You type in the name of the high school. Usually if you type in Hiawatha, that's enough. Just make sure you hit Hiawatha Collegiate High School, hit continue. Date of entry is the date that you started at Hiawatha. So if you have been with us since your freshman year, that means you started school in August 2017. If you came to us your sophomore or your junior year or halfway through freshman year, you would change that the month and year depending on when it was that you got to Hiawatha. Boarding school. We are not a boarding school. Boarding school is like if students live on campus, they don't live at home. So obviously you all go home every day. We are not a boarding school. Will you graduate from this high school? Yes. And your graduation date is going to be approximately June 2021. All right? Now this question's a little confusing. It asks if basically if there's been any change to the traditional 4-year pattern. All of you are probably going to put no change in progression, meaning that you are going to graduate high school in the standard 4 years. And honestly, even if you repeated a grade, you're still going to put that there's been no change in progression because you didn't take a year off, you didn't graduate early, you didn't do something else, you've been in high school the whole time. So you're going to select no change in progression. Then it asks for your counselor's information. This is really important. On both this application and any other scholarship or college application that you see, I am your counselor. So I've typed in all of my information here, and that'll be available to you on the How to Complete the Common Application Guide as well. And then we're going to go ahead and hit continue. Now this next section is only for students who may have transferred. So if you did not transfer schools, you're just going to leave this at a 0 and you can hit continue and go on to the next one. If Hiawatha is not your first high school, then you would select 1 or 2 or however many high schools you've been to. I selected Washburn as the school I transferred from. Same process as before. It asks you when you entered that high school, and then it'll ask you when you left. So I said that I spent my freshman year at Washburn. And then it asks for details about why you left that high school. You don't need to be super elaborate here. You can provide them with as much or as little information as you want. I left it at a sentence. I transferred to Hiawatha to attend a school with better college support. You could say I moved to a new country and that's why I transferred, or I moved to a new state. You don't have to be super lengthy unless you feel like it was something that was really important to you. We'll go on to the next one. All right, so this one asks if you have ever taken coursework at a college or a university. For all of you, unless you have done PSEO, this question is going to be 0. AP classes are not what they are asking about here. They're asking, like, have you actually physically been to a college and taken a class there? If you have taken PSEO classes on a college campus, here's where you'd enter 1, 2, or 3, look up the college information, and then the option that you would select is credit awarded directly by college. All right, let me change that back to 0 and hit continue. So grades, this is another section where I would strongly encourage you to look at the guide to completing the Common App document, because I'm going to have all of this information typed out for you so you can exactly copy it in. They want to know how big your class is. Your graduating class is going to be about 95 people. Just go ahead and put that we don't report class rank. Class rank means basically it's a way of ranking students where the person with the highest GPA is number 1, person with the second highest GPA is number 2. We don't really do that, so you can go ahead and put none. Our GPA scale is out of 4. Some of you may have GPAs a little bit higher than 4, but we still report on a scale of 0 to 4. This is where you're going to type in your cumulative GPA. You can find that information on Infinite Campus, and if you have trouble with that, let me know and I can look it up for you. And then your GPA is weighted. Go ahead and continue on that one. This is one that I would wait a little bit to fill out. You can leave this section until we've started the school year, because it's going to ask you to fill out the names of the classes that you are taking this school year. And obviously there's still some unknowns about what this school year is going to look like. So I would just wait on this for sure until you know what classes you're taking. This can be the very last thing that you fill out. I will tell you right now, though, how you will fill it out once we get to that point. So first thing, you count up the number of classes that you're taking. I just said 5. We take classes on a semester basis. So for this question, we're going to hit semester. And then the course title is just the name of the class. So I chose AP Government and Politics. Now, for this one, for the level, the only 2 options that we have at our school are regular standard and advanced placement. So you will put regular standard for everything unless it's an AP class, and then you will select advanced placement. And then course 1 schedule, the options are full year, first semester, or second semester. All of our classes at Hiawatha are offered for the entire year, so you're going to go ahead and select full year. All right, and then you'll just repeat that process with your remaining courses. And the last few sections in the education section of the Common App. So the one honors is asking about any academic honors that you've received. So the most common ones are going to be things like Student of the Quarter, if you won that before, Honor Roll, or Dean's List, or any other awards that you've won related to your academic work or to your schoolwork. So I said you get to choose the number of awards that you want to report. So I just said Honor Roll, but if you had Student of the Quarter, Dean's List, and Honor Roll, that would be 3. If you don't have any of those, that's fine. You'll just put a 0. Then you name the title of it. So either Honor Roll, Dean's List, whatever the name of the award that you won is. And then for grade level, we've got 9. You just click the grades that you won that award in. So for you all, you're going to just be choosing from 9, 10, and 11 since you haven't started 12th grade yet. The level of recognition is, for most things, is going to be school. If there was some kind of national or state award that you've won, then you would select that. But for the vast majority of this stuff, especially things like Honor Roll or Dean's List or Student of the Quarter, that's just going to be school stuff. We'll go ahead and hit continue. Community-based organizations, this is asking if you have anyone outside of school helping you with your college applications. If that applies to you, you'll list that organization's information. But again, for most of you, I'm guessing it's probably going to be 0 because you're getting help with your college applications at school. So we'll just hit continue there. And then future plans, there's no, they're not looking for anything specific here. They just want to know generally what you're interested in being once you graduate from college. If you're not sure, that's completely fine. You can go ahead and hit undecided. That's not going to be a knock against you to colleges. They're looking for strong students, not for people who have their entire lives mapped out, because the reality is that most students are going to change their major at least once while they're in college. And then highest degree you intend to earn. So just as a reminder, associate's degrees are 2 years, bachelor's degrees are 4 years. Master's would be if you wanted to continue your education after your bachelor's. That's something we call graduate school. And then if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, you would select one of those other options. Again, this isn't something that colleges are really going to judge you by. It's more just something that gives them some more information about who you are and what your goals are, but they're not going to put all of the kids who say they want to be lawyers and doctors in one pile, and put all of the kids who are I want my bachelor's degree in another. That's not how it works. So just be honest about what your goals are, because they want to get to know you. So I'll put bachelor's for this and hit continue. All right, so this section is super easy because as of right now, you don't have any ACT scores to report. I know you all have taken a lot of practice ACTs, but this is asking only about the official tests. Since we haven't taken an ACT yet, we can go ahead and just hit no, and then we can ignore this second question. So all we have to do is hit continue. It's that simple, leaving the ACT behind. All right, the last section of the Common App that's going to be due September 14th is the activities section. This is where you're going to report all of the clubs, sports, community organizations, jobs, volunteering experiences, anything that you see on this list. You are going to report that into the Common App so colleges get a really clear idea of what you've done in high school, what your accomplishments are, and who you are as an individual. So you are going to click, yes, I have activities that I want to report, because everyone at Hiawatha has to be involved in enrichment. So you do have activities, whether you realize it or not. I'm going to fill out just one activity today. I'll talk through how you do it, but you obviously can fill out as many activities as you've got. So the first thing we're going to choose is the activity type. And a lot of these are pretty straightforward. So you've got options for athletics. That would be sports. For sports, you are going to choose the JV or varsity option. We've got art. That would be something like band, or if you do any kind of art activities in the community. Community service, if you've volunteered consistently at one place, you can list that. Cultural, that would be something like Aztec dance. You could also put Aztec in the dance category. These are all pretty straightforward. Social justice, there's tons and tons of option. And then there is an option for work as well. So if you have a job, please put that into the Common Application, because colleges want to get a really clear idea of everything that you've done in and out of school during high school. So if you have got a job, put it in here. I'm going to show you how to do sports. So I'm going to just say that I played soccer, which you all know how uncoordinated I am, so that's not real. But I'm going to say I played soccer. It generates the list of sports to choose from. So I'm going to go ahead and click soccer. Position or leadership, that would be if you were the captain. So I could put captain, or if there was any kind of, if it was a club and you were president or treasurer or something of that club, that's where you would put this. And then please describe this activity. So for this one, you're just going to put a really general description of what it is you did in this club and what it meant to you. This is really important, especially not so much for the sports because everybody knows what you do on a soccer team, but if you're in a club that maybe a college might not be as familiar with, please make sure you're really specific and really highlight the cool things that you've done. So don't just say, like, I was on student council. If you're talking about student council, that's really boring. Talk about how student council is responsible for planning prom, for planning our pep rallies, and decorating for homecoming, and all of the awesome planning a blood drive, and all of the awesome things that have been done. Okay, so for soccer, I'm just going to say, like, I have played, and please use complete sentences with subjects and verbs. I have played varsity soccer for 3 seasons and been captain for 1. All right? And like I said, you want to be as specific as possible, especially with your clubs and things that aren't very straightforward, like sports. So I said I played soccer for 3 seasons, so I'm going to select 9, 10, and 11. Timing of participation, for most of you, it's going to be during the school year. Hours spent per week, that's just how many hours you spend doing that thing. It doesn't have to be exact. You can just take your best guess. I'm going to say that I spend 12 hours a week playing soccer. And then weeks spent per year, again, it doesn't have to be exact. For something that goes the entire school year, that's going to be about 32 weeks. Sports are generally going to be between 10 and 12 weeks, so I'll say 10 here. And then if you would like to continue that activity in college, then you would answer yes or no here. So if I'm interested in playing soccer in college, I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And then at this point, that's all you need to do for the individual activity. You can either click add another one, or you can hit continue, which is what I'm going to do. All right, and at this point, you are going to be at a stopping place. This is where eventually we will add in our personal statements to the Common App. But for right now, you are done. You've done all the parts of the Common App that you need to have done by September 14th. Notice that all of these have green check marks, meaning that they're done. I left the education one doesn't, because remember, we're waiting a little bit to fill out our courses section until we know for sure what classes we're taking this year. But other than that, you should see green check marks all through here to know that you are done with each section. I hoped this video helped, and please, please, please let me know if you've got any questions about this, all right? Have a good day, guys.